You're listening to the Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mikey Hu. Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from the Moose on the Loose. Happy Retirement Friday. Today we're going to talk about 4 different types of scenarios you must look at to enhance, upgrade your retirement plan. And because it's one thing to have your retirement plan and it's great, but then you could do some tweaking to see, like, to run the what if scenarios. And the purpose of running what if scenarios is to have a better understanding of what you can do with your money today and the next following years without worrying of like outliving your portfolio, for example, or leaving your spouse or your children and grandchildren in a place that you don't want to live them. So I have like 4 scenarios I want to discuss today that you can try if you have a projection sheet or a financial planner. If not, you can also consider joining Loop. Retirement Loop will reopen their doors at the end of May. So at moosemarkets.com/retirement, you can subscribe to the wait list. So it's moosemarkets.com/retirement. And we have been talking about how you can modify your projection sheets, because at Retirement Loop, we help you build your retirement plan. You have like tools to do that. And those scenarios have been discussed several times during webinars. We have we can show you how to do them so you can have the answers to your question, because that's the most important part, right? We're about to retire. We have a bunch of questions and it's hard to get answers. So the first scenario that is super interesting to do if you have a spouse is to die young. I mean, no, it's not fun to die young, but if one partner passes away too early, it's not only very sad, but it also has a major impact on your financial situation, and most importantly on your spouse's financial situation. So having someone dying like at the age of 70, for example, to see if there's enough money left will make a huge difference in the decisions that you're going to make, because dying young will have an impact on CPP and OAS. It will have an impact on if you have any pension plans, if you have an annuity, and it will have an impact on taxes as well. And on the other side, yes, you're going to reduce your budget a bit, but while thinking like when you simulate the like one person passing away early, we like, of course, today we're not talking about like the sentimental aspect, but like the mathematical value or the financial value that you have, or that your cost as a human being, right? So if I die tomorrow, well, yes, I will not eat anymore. I will not drive a car. I will not buy clothes. If my wife goes on vacation, she will not have to buy 2 airplane tickets, but only 1. But so still the budget will be reduced a little bit. But on the other side, there are a lot of fees that are not being divided by 2. So you cannot really reduce your budget by 50%, probably more like a 30% or something. Because I mean, if you have like utility bills, cell phones, water, electricity, municipal taxes, cost to maintain the house, all of those will remain the same, right? So running this scenario will show if one spouse can keep on moving with the same lifestyle after the other half of the couple pass away. So very important in planning. The second one, which is a lot more interesting and motivating to calculate, is to what if you retire earlier. So when you do retirement, when you go into retirement planning, the projections are going to show you different options, and there are no like through good option. It's like just a matter of like different options, different strategies, and then you pick the one that fits better with what you envision. What is interesting about knowing about like what's the earliest I can retire is it will show you the impact of, first, when you can retire, and then if you retire after 1 year, after 2 years, waiting after that specific date to see what's the impact on your budget. Because I mean, maybe if you work 1 more year and you increase your retirement budget by $1,000, maybe it's not worth it. But on the other side, maybe if you work 2 extra years, you're gonna get access to a better pension, or you're not going to be You're not going to be penalized, or you will have enough money to put money aside over those 2 years to really prepare for retirement. So maybe it's going to have a big impact on your net worth, maybe not, but at least knowing, okay, what was the original plan? Let's say it was like 65. What's the earliest you can like retire? Oh, maybe it's 61. That's great. And then what's the difference between 61, 62, 3, and 4, and 5, to see what's the impact on your budget, to have like all the options possible on the table. And then, well, just knowing that you go to work today, but you don't really have to because you have like your backup plan is already settled. Well, it's going to change your mindset. You're going to get to work just to enjoy work, enjoy your colleagues, enjoy the time there. And maybe it's just going to be like a lot more fun, or maybe the opposite. And then you're going to be fed up, but at least you know you can quit and leave early. So that's super interesting. So after planning for dying young, retiring early, now it's time to get into the most important part: doing a stress test to your plan. One thing that is hard in retirement planning is the expected returns, right? It's a huge struggle because you don't want to retire the day before the crash. On the other side, you're planning for like 20, 30, 40 years ahead. Tens of thousands of different scenarios could happen. So it's really hard to find out which one will happen. So you go with an average conservative expected return, and then you prepare for a stress test. I know big time because I was a financial planner in 2008. I had a client that invested $800,000. He sold a rental property. He had $800,000. In the summer of 2008, he invested literally a couple of weeks before Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy, and that was the beginning of the crash. Fortunately, he had a big plan, well written out by me, actually, and he trusted me. He was well diversified, and by 2012, he was actually richer than he was in 2008. But that was a really rough 4 years. And without a plan, that would have been a catastrophe. So the first year is the worst for the sequence of withdrawals, of course, because it's going to change your entire retirement. So if you retire on year one and you're down 25% on that year, wow, you must know if you can take it or not. So we do have an optimizer on the projection sheet that will calculate how far your portfolio can go down on year one, and you can still retire with the same budget and probably get to a net worth of zero when you pass away, but at least you will not outlive your portfolio. So that gives you a very good idea of like what's the room. So if your room is like -10, like you have to review your stuff, or you have to know that if there's a crash on that year one, you will have to review your budget for a few years because it's not going to work. So it's giving you like an alarm right away, a big red flag if it's not there. But if your stress test shows you, oh, you can take a hit of like 30, 40% drop of your portfolio, well, then you're golden. Because, I mean, let's be honest, the odds are not there that the market is going to crash the day you retire, but you want to avoid this risk, and you can do it by a better planning. The other thing you can do, and that's the fourth scenario, is to plan with a pessimistic scenario. So a pessimistic scenario is not like a stress test, but rather having your optimal scenario and then reducing expected returns, increasing inflation. So for example, I like to use FP Canada numbers that are super conservative. So the equity side is around 6.57% roughly. And then the inflation is around 2.1%. But what you can do if you can retire on that plan is to reduce your equity returns at 5%. So from like 6.57% to 5%, and then increase your inflation by 1, so to 3%. That would be like the ultimate shield around your plan, because now you're assuming very bad market and higher inflation than expected, higher inflation than the target of the Bank of Canada and the Fed in the US. So it's really like, oh, what would happen if I invest in the worst decade of investment possible? Well, there you go. It's going to give you kind of like the minimum budget that you can live on versus the maximum that you could spend on a regular, more conservative scenario. And the key then, it's to stay within those brackets, to never go too much, to spending too much, or if you're like, you want to keep that mindset of, oh, I want to save more money, well, you're retired, you should enjoy your retirement, right? Well, running this pessimistic scenario, running the stress test will give you those brackets where you know exactly how much you can spend without being at risk of outliving your portfolio. But at the same time, you could also enjoy retirement, because that's the whole point of retiring, is to enjoy life, right? All right, so first scenario, what happens if I die young? Second one, what's the earliest I can retire, and what's the impact of adding 1, 2, 3 more years of working before I retire? Doing a stress test to see if I can lose 30% of my portfolio on year 1 of my retirement. And finally, planning for a very bad decade, so a pessimistic scenario. If you want to have more tips, if you are interested in that kind of content, if you have questions about retirement, I invite you to register to the free waitlist for Retirement Loop. So we're opening the doors again at the end of the month. So you can go at moosemarkets.com/retirement. You can put your name and email address there. You're even going to have freebies, more information about Retirement Loop, how it works, and you're going to be the first one to know when we reopen the doors. All right, Moose, that's enough for today. Enjoy your weekend. And next week, I have a special series for you, but I'm not going to tell you yet. All right, enjoy, and don't forget to stay invested.
Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to The Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy this show and do your due diligence after it.